Hi, have you ever found yourself in the situation when someone organizes a meeting where you are involved and also ask you a few days before the meeting to do a little exercise like writing down some ideas or anything like that? Well, if you do that, you're going to really help the meeting runs more smoothly and you will improve the quality of the meeting itself. But I want to record this video because I'm a little bit disappointed that a lot of people don't tend to do that sort of exercise. Actually, some of my colleagues disagree with this approach is because it's taking away more time to the people in addition to the time that they already need to spend in the meeting itself. I understand these arguments, but I want to talk a little bit more about this technique and why I consider this extremely effective, even if it's actually harder to organize, just to start a discussion. So feel free to reply in the comments if you disagree with what I'm saying based on your experience. I'm always open to listen to different ideas. But personally, I found this technique extremely effective to improve the quality of the meeting. So there is a term that describes this activity that is brain dumping. Okay, so let's say I'm organizing a meeting about, for example, risk management. I want to get the team together to try to identify the risks related to our project. Okay. One of the things I tend to do in this situation, and I've done it quite effectively this year, is I'm gonna create a mural. That is the tool I'm using in order to organize things on a virtual dashboard. I ask each member of the team to individually come up with some of the risks themselves. I set up mural in a way that all the content is in private mode, so other people can see each other comments. And that's extremely important to avoid group bias. So everyone can think independently, reflect deeply on the problem that we are trying to solve, in this case, identifying risks. And then when we go to the meeting, we're going to start by going around and everyone will share what they identified. So the advantages of this approach is that it forces people to think more deeply about things because they can't rely on what other people think. So group bias is really, it can really damage a meeting sometimes where, a few more people are more vocal tend to dominate the conversation and they kind of influence other people's opinions. So I really want to avoid that. I want to make sure everyone has a chance to share their opinions and to share their ideas at the beginning of the meeting. This might require 5 minutes or 10 minutes of work before the meeting, but it's extremely effective. I've been immensely surprised by how much content people generate even before the meeting and massively improve the quality of the discussions on the meeting, because the meeting itself will be focused on discussing all the ideas, on generating even new ideas as a combination of the things that's been created. But the overall creativity and the brainstorming is going to be much, much more powerful. The price to pay is that the organizer need to be organized in a way that you need to send this request to produce some more content at the beginning of the meeting early enough to give people enough notice, usually 3 or 4 weeks before the meeting, with a few reminders along the way. So you need to take the ownership of having to do these reminders because people obviously are busy. They might not do that activity. You want to remind them. That's a little bit of more burden on the organizer. But you also need to make sure when you share it, you want to highlight the importance of why you are asking them to spend some of this time, why you want this to be the case. And yes, they need to be organized as well. So there is nothing more frustrating than asking several times a few people to come up with ideas, and then you join the meeting and maybe only one person or two over 10 people actually produce any ideas. That is not going to be good, and it's not something I particularly like. I don't think it's respectful for the organizer. So personally, if someone asks me to provide some information before the meeting, I try to organize myself at the best of my abilities to be able to provide some of the content. Yes, you still need to provide some time in the meeting itself to provide, any extra time for people to think about ideas in a silent way at the beginning of the meeting, but that should be on top of some of the reflection that people already need to do on their own before. Yeah, I think that's kind of really the key things here. I found this technique is extremely powerful. It makes sure people contribute more fairly in the meeting and improve the quality of the discussions. And I've used them for pretty much most of the meetings I'm organizing, the risk management, identification sessions, objectives definition, even retrospectives. Sometimes we create a retrospective mural, or if you use a different tools, and ask people to share their ideas and share their opinions of the last 2 weeks ahead of the meeting itself. And I found that incredibly effective. Yes, it's harder to do these sort of meetings. Some of my colleagues disagree that you should use this technique with caution, and I agree with that. You should avoid to have like 10 meetings and asking 10 different things to the team, or whoever the people attending the meeting. You should try to limit the amount of asynchronous requests you have at the same time in progress. And that come up from a discussion with one of my colleagues that I think I agree with. So as far as you are mindful of the time that you're asking people, and on the objective and on the reason why you are asking them to spend some of their time to think, I believe this technique is going to really massively improve the quality of your meeting and the quality of your decision and the results of those meetings. And sometimes it happens that because people did such a good job ahead of the meeting itself, that the maybe 1 hour meeting turns out to be just half an hour in the end. So we limited the amount of time we need to work synchronously, and we maximize the asynchronous aspect of the meeting and having an organized in a different way in order to provide the same results. So yeah, I really wanted to create a video on this topic because I noticed that it's quite common for people not to necessarily provide their input before the meetings, and I don't think that's a good thing. So we should really encourage people to do it more. When I'm organizing these sort of meetings, I tend to sometimes DM people that are not contributing ahead of the meeting to make sure that if they need any help in thinking about topics or ideas, or if they need some more clarification, but sometimes I haven't been clear on exactly what I'm asking for, or they just need some reassurance. And that's been effective on me. And most of the time I got pretty much everyone to contribute at least with some few ideas ahead of the meeting. And that really helped me, even me, tailor the meeting itself ahead of the meeting and change the direction a little bit and make the meetings even more effective. So strongly encourage you to give it a try. It's something that I believe is important and will definitely improve the quality of your meetings with your team and other stakeholders. Yeah, please let me know your opinion in the comments and like the video if you find it useful. All the best.